Tonight on Dateline, hunting the Tamil tigers. After a quarter of a century of civil war in Sri Lanka, is the end finally in sight? However, any journalist questioning the government's hard line is asking for trouble.
If you try to give a cover-up for that person, you have the blood in your hands.
G'day, welcome to another hour of Dateline. Sri Lanka's two wars, one against the Tamil tigers, the other against press freedom in a moment. It's a terrible thing to contemplate, but for more than 25 long and bloody years, Sri Lankans have been killing each other in a vicious civil war. But of late, the government there has become convinced they're on the verge of defeating the feared Tamil tiger rebels. As we speak, they've got the tigers in the north surrounded and are moving in for what they hope will be, in military terms, the kill. But there's one serious problem with that, the meat in the sandwich, so to speak. An estimated 200,000 civilians trapped between the two warring sides. Dateline's Amos Roberts has just returned from the troubled island nation. He reports that with an endgame seemingly in sight, daring to question the Sri Lankan government or the military can be deadly. And a warning that this report contains some disturbing scenes.
On a beach in northeast Sri Lanka, the army continues its assault on the Tamil tigers. This is the final act in a long and bloody war that's killed around 70,000 people. These pictures were shot by a cameraman from a pro-government TV station embedded with the army. And this is footage from the Tamil side of the front line, released to the world on the internet last month. Footage shot from this side shows hospitals and refugee camps being shelled. Dead and wounded civilians and grief-stricken relatives. More than 2,000 civilian deaths have been documented since late January, and there are rumours of heavy army casualties. But it's impossible to know for sure. No independent journalists are allowed anywhere near the front line. When I arrived in the capital, Colombo, it looked as though the closest I'd get to the conflict was an official briefing.
They had to face heavy resistance in the jungle base called 1-4 base.
With Army spokesman Brigadier Udaya Nanayakara.
Because after more than 25 years, we have liberated the whole area.
Although the Tamil tigers are now squeezed into this tiny patch of land, the entire northern part of the country is out of bounds for journalists.
I noticed you have this interesting sign on your map which says it's the soldier, not the reporter, who's given us the freedom of the press. You think the army's played a key role in encouraging freedom of speech in Sri Lanka?
Yes.
When I heard that seriously wounded civilians were being taken to the town of Trincomalee in Sri Lanka's eastern province, I wanted to talk to them about what was happening in the conflict zone. Hi, General Fernando. It's Amos Roberts from Australian television again. Major General Palita Fernando is the military liaison officer at the Defence Department. If I wanted to make a trip to Trincomalee,
Absolutely no problem. Absolutely no problem.
No problem. And what if I wanted to visit some of the people that have been evacuated, some of the wounded patients who are in the hospital there?
That's not possible.
That's not possible.
Not possible.
What's the problem with that, sir?
That's the way we want it. Simple answer.
It's what, sorry?
That's the way we want it. Okay, thank you, okay.
Thank you, goodbye.
Okay, bye.
Why is it not possible for me to travel to large parts of the country and report on what I find there?
You have to remember, we are fighting with the largest terrorist group in this world. I don't want them to infiltrate into these areas and start various things. We have security measures taken up in this area. I have to have certain restrictions. Of course, I'm not worried. I'm telling that I will have these restrictions because the security comes first. The word, this free media, free movement are nice words. It is good for Sydney. But it is not good for operational area where LTT was occupying for the last so many years.
But it wasn't long before the war came to Colombo in an entirely unexpected way.
Hi. Media.
On the verge of military defeat, the Tamil Tigers somehow managed to send 2 small planes to attack the capital.
Sir, can you tell me what this is?
This is, I think, enemy aircraft parts.
One was shot down at the domestic airport. The other crashed into this building after being hit by anti-aircraft fire. Far from being embarrassed by this surprise attack, the government was proud of destroying what it believed were the last of the enemy's aircraft.
What do you think the public reaction will be to the attack tonight?
Well, the public would be the happiest. I'm sure they would cherish this moment and they would accept this moment as a moment of glory. So basically it's a death knell to the LTT.
I'm not the only journalist who's been asking for access to the country's biggest story. Finally, the army agrees to take about 50 reporters to visit some of the civilians who fled the fighting. We're taken north from Colombo to Valnia. This is where the army's brought around 35,000 people who've escaped the war. This will be our first opportunity to see what the government calls relief villages, and critics describe as concentration camps. Whatever they're called, this one is surrounded by razor wire, and there are soldiers everywhere.
Almost every family is being provided with a separate house and a kitchen in this location.
This was always going to be a PR exercise for the army. Some of the people here seem to have been deliberately planted for us to interview.
I'm satisfied with these conditions in this camp.
I feel very happy this camp, so no problem.
Anna Marie?
Yes.
To get an independent view, I arranged to meet up with Anna Marie Luce from MSF, Médecins Sans Frontières, which provides health services to the refugees here.
The other ones are really more emergency, basic. People have.
She says this camp is much better than the others.
And here people have at least established a little bit of normalcy.
So you think there's a reason they brought us to this camp in particular?
Well, yes, you always want to show the best thing you have. So this is probably as good as it gets.
Everywhere we went, we were followed by soldiers.
Emma?
Yeah.
I will be very careful about talking to people because, as you see, we have a few followers. And it could mean trouble for the people we speak to.